All right, I'm sorry. These are not bangers, okay? These are artists.
I guess a group of men standing outside the Compton courthouse were flashing gang signs at a passing car. Oh. And then the car turned around and just opened fire.
That's Compton.
Yeah, this is yet another charge for Suge Knight related to the movie Straight Outta Compton. This time he is accused of texting a death threat to the movie's director.
Straight Outta Compton is basically a biopic that tells the story of rap OGs N.w.a., their rise from underground kings to rap legends, all back when rap was still kinda niche. Critics loved it, saying the performances were fire, the direction was on point, and the musical numbers totally slapped. Still, the film did get some heat for not being super accurate with the history. But let's be real, the drama behind the scenes was next level. The production wasn't exactly smooth. There were casting call fiascos, a drive-by shooting, and even a tragic death. They had to bring in real gang members for security just to keep things in check. So yeah, the making of this film was as wild as the story it was telling.
7 days into the filming, a drive-by shooting happens right in front of the cast and crew.
In September 2014, the Straight Outta Compton set was straight up lit. Imagine this. Extras waving signs that say "Crap Rap N.w.a." and going full savage by crushing records with a steamroller. So extra. Meanwhile, a bunch of young extras who were probably still in diapers when N.w.a. was dropping those fire tracks were queuing up outside to film a concert scene.
For those who know the song, raise your hand. Okay, so we're gonna say about half the crowd. The other half who needs to hear it a couple times, raise your hand. Get out.
The set was decked out to look like the late 80s, complete with an old-school tour bus, a vintage TV news van, and extras rocking those throwback hairstyles and chunky gold chains. Dr. Dre was living it up in his fancy trailer, while Tamika Woods Wright, Eazy-E's widow, was barely around. But hey, there were still plenty of celeb moments to catch.
Yeah, I was just talking about it. Bananas. I mean, you know, that's crazy.
Director F. Gary Gray, who's no stranger to Ice Cube thanks to their collab on Friday, was spotted roaming the set, totally zoned in on his notes. Ice Cube himself, who's also producing this gem, cruised by in his classic shades. His son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., who's playing him in the movie, was getting ready for a scene. Even though he was in a great mood, Jackson Jr. wasn't having any of it when a reporter asked for a photo while he was rocking that Jerry curl wig, saying, "Not while I'm wearing this." Of course, when it came to casting, people were quick to throw around accusations of nepotism. Jimmy Kimmel even had a laugh with Ice Cube, teasing if his son had to audition for the role of himself. But it wasn't just O'Shea Jackson Jr. trying to snag a role in the film. Dr. Dre's oldest son, Curtis, auditioned but didn't make the cut. And Eazy-E's eldest son, Lil Eazy-E, also threw his hat in the ring but missed out. TMZ got the scoop that Lil Eazy-E was initially bummed about not landing the part, but he later cleared the air, saying he actually helped coach Jason Mitchell, the actor who did score the role. Mitchell even dropped by Lil Eazy's Compton crib to get some insider tips on playing Eazy-E. But the set wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. To keep things real, they filmed some scenes in Compton, which stirred up old gang rivalries and led to some seriously dangerous situations. The tension got so high that a tragic shooting occurred, and the filmmakers had to make deals with local gangs to keep things from blowing up. It was like living through the gritty days of West Coast hip-hop all over again. Back in 1987, when N.w.a. was making waves, L.A. was seriously sketchy. The Crips and Bloods were blowing up, and crack cocaine was everywhere, making the streets super dangerous. N.w.a. didn't just come from this world, they were living it. Ice Cube even dropped the word gang on their hit single, Straight Outta Compton. But let's clear things up. Cube, Dr. Dre, and DJ Yella weren't actual gang members. Eazy-E and MC Ren had some connections with the Crips, but they weren't deep in the gang life.
What's going on out here?
Can you step back, please? We're trying to make sure that these bangers are clean, please.
Okay. All right, sir, these are not bangers, these are artists, okay? What? They're artists.
The group wanted to rise above gang affiliations, which is why they rocked the neutral LA Raiders colors, silver and black. But just because they avoided gang colors didn't mean they could dodge drama. Over time, they had their share of gang clashes. Things got seriously intense when Dr. Dre linked up with Suge Knight, who was tied to the Piru Bloods, to launch Death Row Records. Suge and his crew were notorious for using muscle to get what they wanted.
East Coast, West Coast nonsense is just getting ridiculous, you know? It's just like another form of black-on-black crime.
Dre got seriously fed up with his crew getting hassled, threatened, and even beat up. So, in the mid-90s, he threw in the towel with Death Row and kicked off his own label, Aftermath. This move marked Dre's big glow-up from Compton Kid to music mogul. He went on to produce megastars like Eminem and 50 Cent and co-founded Beats, the headphone brand that Apple swooped up for a jaw-dropping $3 billion in 2014. Dre even ditched his old life for Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen's former mansion in Brentwood. Even though Suge Knight was still throwing shade, claiming Dre owed him $300 million, Dre was living a bit easier behind the gates of his swanky new pad, with a restraining order keeping things chill. But escaping your past isn't a walk in the park, especially when your roots are deep in a place like Compton, where turf wars are as precise as military operations. Dre, along with Eazy-E and MC Ren, grew up in the southeastern part of Compton, which was Crip turf. The crew used to jam out in the garage behind Eazy's mom's crib on South Muriel Avenue. Lil Eazy, Eazy-E's son, really wanted the filmmakers to shoot these scenes at the actual house, still owned by his grandma. But the filmmakers decided to steer clear of the east side of Compton and shot elsewhere. Gangland politics had a huge say in where they could shoot. Most of the filming happened in Bloods territory on the west side of Compton. Arnold White, a close friend of Eazy-E who grew up there, said, "They didn't have a pass to come in our hood." This tricky situation might have contributed to a drive-by shooting near the set by the Compton courthouse soon after filming kicked off in August 2014. Gang signs were reportedly flashed, but thankfully, the cast and crew dodged any harm, though one bystander did get hurt. Dr. Dre wasn't about to let this get him down. He tried hard to make nice with the Compton community, giving away headphones and football gear. He even promised that the royalties from his new album, Compton, which dropped alongside the movie, would fund a performing arts center in the city. But when it came to actually filming Straight Outta Compton, things got messy. They needed someone who knew the turf, so they brought in a Bloods affiliate to help navigate the complex scene. Bone, who you might remember from Training Day, was hired to keep things real and manage local tensions during the shoot. According to a lawsuit, his job included recruiting gang members as extras and making sure everything stayed cool in gang-controlled neighborhoods. Bone had some serious beef with Suge Knight, which had been simmering for over a decade. One of Bone's main gigs was to keep Knight away from the set. One time, after shooting a promo for Straight Outta Compton at a Compton barbershop, the crew broke for lunch and headed to their trailers in Piru territory. Knight rolled up in his red Ford F-150 Raptor, and Dre's team freaked out. Knight approached Ice Cube's head of security, Kibo, calmly saying he was there to make peace and wanted a meeting with Cube. But not right then. Kibo told Esquire UK that Knight was chill and not looking to stir up trouble. An insider said Kibo assured Knight that they'd sort out his compensation for letting an actor play him in the film. But before anything could get sorted, Bone showed up and got all up in Knight's face. They had a major showdown until the sheriffs intervened and Knight left. Knight then got a call from Terry Carter, a local guy who worked on lowriders and co-founded a record label with Ice Cube. Carter wanted to help smooth things over, so they planned to meet near Tam's Burgers. But Bone, who was tailing Knight, showed up too. He jumped a fence and started throwing hands through Knight's truck window. In the chaos, Knight sped off, accidentally running over Bone's ankles and tragically hitting Carter, who had stepped out of his car.
The truck backs up, hits one man. Seconds later, the truck comes back and runs over that man. We've had to, digitize the video because it's very violent.
Now it's up to a jury to figure out who was really the troublemaker, Bone or Knight. Knight's currently locked up downtown with a hefty $10 million bail, facing a murder charge. He's trying to convince everyone he was just trying to get away and wasn't aiming to run anyone over. Meanwhile, the Straight Outta Compton crew is dealing with a wrongful death lawsuit from Terry Carter's widow, Lillian Carter. She's suing Universal Studios, n.w.a, Cube, Tam's Burgers, and a bunch of others for an undisclosed amount. Her suit claims they should have known that putting Knight and Bone in the same place could spark a violent showdown and lead to collateral damage. On top of that, Knight supposedly sent multiple threats to the film's director F. Gary Gray during filming. So yeah, this whole situation is still a hot mess. Even with all the drama behind the scenes, Straight Outta Compton turned out to be a total box office smash, pulling in over $201 million with a budget of just $28 to $50 million. The movie didn't just crush it financially, it also scored some serious street cred. The National Board of Review named it one of the top 10 films of 2015, and it snagged an Academy Award nomination for Best Original Screenplay. On top of that, it bagged the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Motion Picture at the 47th NAACP Image Awards. The film even pushed Dr. Dre to drop his third studio album, Compton, which hit number 2 on the US Billboard 200 just a week before the movie's release. And let's not forget, the soundtrack, packed with n.w.a. bangers, zoomed to number 1 on both the rap albums and top R&B hip-hop albums charts. But wait, there's more. The film set a record for the best opening by an African-American director, a title it held until Gray beat his own record with The Fate of the Furious in April 2017. By August 27, 2015, Straight Outta Compton had become the highest-grossing musical biopic ever in the U.S. The awards and nominations kept rolling in, including that coveted Oscar nod for Best Original Screenplay. That's a wrap for today. Catch you next time.